And yeah, everyone, this is Thermites, and this is Weekly Shonen Jump for the week of April 26th, 2020. On the cover, we've got Bone Collection. So, I haven't been spoiled on it, but I was in the room when Donut looked at Bone Collection, and from the Donut sounds I heard, it doesn't seem like he thought there was a lot of promise to the series. And I did read the blurb here, which it has the word exorcist in it, which is worrisome. If you've been on the channel for a while, you know I don't like exorcist series. It's not that I dislike the medium. Like, I would say I dislike zombie series, for instance, but I wouldn't say the same thing about exorcist series in the same way. Like, it's not inherently the idea that I hate the concept of exorcists or that I hate the concept of yokai. It's just on average, like over all of the Exorcist slash yokai series I've read, I've liked very, very few of them. Like there's Yu Yu Hakusho, Bleach. Does Rosario Vampire count? I mean, it's kind of a yokai series. Uh, I mean, I'm sure there's a couple more I can think of. The Last Sayuki. I mean, Last Sayuki barely. I guess that's also the thing. Like because I read a fair bit of manga, like a lot of Japanese series will include some element of yokai mythology, just because it's Japanese mythology. You write what you know. You write what your fans are going to understand inherently. So I think it might also just be a signal to me that this is going to be pretty watered down because it's a series concept that everyone knows a little bit of. It's like an isekai in the sense that when you go into an isekai, you know what it is. Like you're looking for the little twist on it, but the 90% of what the series is going to be from the starts. And I think yokai series tend to have that problem of, this is the series, you know what it is. Okay, now over the course of the first 20 chapters, I'm going to slowly introduce things that are unique. But most of it's going to be just stuff you already seen. You know what it is. So we are not going to do that now. We're going to do it at the very start of my live stream. So check that out. Before then, let's jump into Actage, chapter 110. I've got to write down her name. But we've got the child star here. This is honestly a really, like, I wouldn't say it's an amazing color page at all, but, like, it is very pop arts. Like, it is very eye-catching. I do think it's, like, just as an image of the character, I think it is fantastic. It really sells the youthful spirit that she's supposed to be embodying in her commercials. Actually, this might be for a commercial, like, in universe. I don't know what it'd be for, though, because, like, she is just wearing, like, a sports uniform. So where we last left off, they shot this commercial, they liked it. Yanagi was not happy with it. And it comes down to just, what's her motivation? You like the water. I thought this was going to be more of a struggle, but is it just that she's thinking about, like, is she doing what she usually does? Is she thinking, all right, it's me, I'm with my little siblings on the beach, they want water, I want to give them the good water. Or I want to receive good water from my siblings. That is so heavy for a commercial. But okay, so it is exactly what I just said. Okay, and it did come through in her acting. Like, it is more intense than they wanted it to be. But it is supposed to be a fun commercial. And I think that is the real problem. Like, I don't think Yanagi's ever had fun drinking water. Like, I mean, I'd say I've had fun drinking water, but that's more of a, like, in the situation moment. Like, I don't think I've ever been like, I'm gonna have a good time drinking this water. This is gonna be some dope water. It's usually I'm tired and happy and exhausted, and that water seems really tempting because I'm dehydrated and I want that water, and some good water. I don't know if Yanagi's ever had that situation before. And like, this is a known quantity in the world. Like, they know, yeah, this just happens. Newbies who have strong ideals are the worst because they don't understand that sometimes you just gotta shoot the commercial. But at the same time, I am on Yunagi's side. She won't grow up as a person if she's just shooting the commercial to shoot the commercial. I mean, this is really good practice for dealing with people who aren't Kuriyama. Like, she's been directed by a couple of people, and they've all been pretty artsy. Uh, but this is the first time she's being directed on a purely money-driven basis, like on a pure, we want to sell the water basis. Yeah, like you can't connect with a single person on this. And this isn't even like a comic book situation where in comics, like, sure, comics are made by a multitude of people all working on like one character or one storyline. But at the same time, you usually can like narrow in on one of them, or like like a bigwig will say like, this is my overall concept. A bunch of people are telling it, but this is the idea I want to express with Invincible Iron Man or whatever. Ah, I didn't consider that. Like, yeah, Chioko's done like, and that actually recontextualizes all the billboards and stuff we've seen with Chioko's face on it. Like, up until now, I've thought of it as just it's a way to show that she's big, but it's also showing that, yeah, she's been in this world for a while. She, long before Yanagi, like, gave up on the idea of imbuing every character with a distinct backstory and emotion, because she's had to pose a lot just for billboards. And I mean, Arisa's not backing down. Like, she has been extremely clear and straightforward about this the whole time. Like, I don't care if you're a pro. If you're a pro, do it. Yeah, what's the purpose of a commercial? To introduce something. When do we want to introduce something to someone? And you want other people to enjoy something you love. So can she tackle it from that angle? It's also interesting that Arisa is like, she knows Yanagi well enough at this point to not be bullheaded about just saying do it. Like, she is acquiescing a little bit. She is trying to get her to see it in a way that actually works for her mindsets. But I mean, it does make sense. Like, if she's going to like properly sell it, and then like, she's not saying it's bad, I won't do it. She's saying it's not very tasty, but I gotta learn how to love it. I can't believe that Arisa's letting her do this. See, I took that to be more like, I took Akira saying my cheeks hurt to be like a differentiator between him and Yanagi. Like, at the end of this chapter, Yanagi's cheeks wouldn't hurt because she's, more skilled in some way. But I completely misinterpreted it. Like, we're looking at that from Arisa's point of view. She's like, she remembers that. She remembers her son saying, my cheeks hurt because, of all the fake smiling I'm doing. Whereas Yanagi is approaching this from a pure, like, no lie method of acting. Like, it isn't method acting, but it shares like similar principles. She does want to legitimately like it, so she is going all the way down to like, what is this product? Why do not why do people like it, but why should I like it? Once I understand what this product is aiming for, then I can appreciate it on that level, then I can express that appreciation, and then hopefully, like, I can advertise it to people, because now I understand what is, like what's good about it. And I do think that is pretty great. Like, advertisements work. Like, they just do. A lot of people say, I've never been sold anything for an advertisement. Yeah, then it has happened. Even if you don't think about it, it happens. And I think a big part of a successful advertisement is, honestly selling something. It doesn't have to be the product. Like, a lot of big ads are like just saying, this is the feel of our company. We want this kind of person. And I think that's fine in its own way, as long as you're still selling that ideal. Like, Apple with the famous 1984 commercial, where they were trying to sell this idea of, we're not conformist. We are, the breakouts, strange, like, even though they then became this enormous $1 billion+ company, like, even though they are the normie company, they still want to hold that ideal, that pirate flag ideal of, we are the outcasts, we do things our own way. And I don't think that's dishonest to, even in 2020, say, we do things our own way, because they do. Like, they do strange things that don't seem like surefire gambles, and then they do pay off. Like, they still try to embody that feeling. And I think that's fine. Like, in the same. So, even though this water isn't very tasty and it has a weird flavor to it, I think, like, if the creator of it can explain, like, I made it in this scenario and I wanted people to, like, I don't want this to be tasty. I want it to be something that you can drink a lot of so you don't get tired of it, which is why the flavor's so bland. Like, if she can understand on that aspect, I think she can sell it a lot better. Because, like, just from the way you look at the person, I think there is a big difference between a celebrity advertising a product and you not getting any sincerity out of them. Like, you don't understand the correlation between the two of them, and the celebrity like actually act like posing in a way that makes you feel like they like it. Anyways, that is Actage. Good chapter. It was a good, like, this is what Yanagi is like chapter. Oh no, I forgot to do my thing here. Yeah, right in the middle. Okay, that was Actage. Next, we've got Black Clover, chapter 248. So Luck versus Svengen. And we are flashing back to, I'm not sure what Luck's upgrade is going to be. Or, I mean, it might just be the general, mana in the Heart Kingdom is stronger, like, they've got the runes and all that. But that's all I'm thinking of. Like, last week I was hung up on the idea of everyone in the Black Bulls seem to be arcane stages. So is he going to be an arcane stage? I don't think that's going to be the case. Like, just from this image, I haven't read any of the speech bubbles, but just from this image, I think what we're going to say here is that that Luck and Magna are both, like, they are normies, but because of what they've learned in the Heart Kingdom, they're just, like, reaching another level of normie strength. Also, would Zora benefit from this at all? Like, traps are not nature-based. Like, fire's nature-based. Sure, lightning is nature-based. Traps are not like nature-based. Also, so the runes are made from natural mana. So it's not that they're generating the runes from themselves. It's that they have to be somewhere with natural mana, and then they turn that into the runes. This could be an interesting, like the fight we're in right now is a luck fight. I don't think Magna's gonna come in, but I think this might be like, this is going to show why luck is so powerful in this fight, but it's also setting up a later flashback where we then see what Magna did here and how he got stronger. So you are like, it's almost like programming then. Like, you are programming the magic to do a thing. And that way, your own personal spell or the spell you have in your grimoire doesn't have to do that thing. You can just do, you can do one thing and then create runes that have your spell do something else it doesn't usually do. Ah, the true is literal. Okay, so that is the difference. Like, it is like he's not generating mana and turning it into lightning. That is just making actual lightning happen. So what he's saying is that, like, it took him 2 years because that's not his, like, natural type of spell. Whereas, like, Luck could potentially do True Lightning directly from his hands and feet. Oh, that's a lot of arrays. But the question is, like, is it that he made one here and then, like, is he bouncing off of them? Or is he actually setting them up to do a spell? Oh, no! Oh, that's a bad look. Oh, that's so gross. Okay, so I guess he's filling up all of his cracks with devil magic. Oh, that's so cool. So, like, he is just stacking them on top of each other. Like, that gives me such Ava vibes. Like, I don't know if it happened in the main series or if I'm thinking just of the rebuilds, but then when you have, like, multiple stacked AT fields among, like, on top of one each other, and then because they're CGI, I guess that was only in the movies, because they're CG, they can all move in unison. Like, it's such a cool effect. Oh, I hope the anime does this justice. Like, the anime's been okay with using CG, so I think they could make this look good. Oh. That's so direct too. Like, I appreciate that Luck didn't get anything tricky. Like, even the boots that he got, a while back, like, that was just making himself faster. It wasn't really a trick. It was just, I guess, turning his raw electric damage into more speed. Like, that's been his progression. And now this is combining his speed with literal actual lightning. Oh, that's so cool. I don't know what Serenos means though. I also just love the lighting here. Like, the idea that the lightning is so blindingly white that it does illuminate everything in here in like an instant. Okay, that was Black Clover. Good chapter. Nothing too special. Like, it was extremely enjoyable, but it wasn't like the Actage chapter. Wasn't a whole lot to chew on. I'm excited to see what Magna does after this though. Like, we did just leave it at, if he lets us stop him from getting stronger, it means that was all he was worth. Like, it is a deep neg, so yeah, we'll see. next we have the live stream. All right, we are now live with Bone Collection, Chapter 1. Okay. So, yokai entering from the yokai world. They attack humans and pose a grave threat. Exorcists. I didn't. I'm gonna show you my Bone Collection. But, like, this honestly is not a great intro for a series at all. Like, because it is so. It's so on its face, like, you know the premise. I can deal with it for a comedy series, because usually it is saying, like, this is the most bare bones idea because we're going to subvert it later. But with something like this, like even most isekai series don't do this, where it's just, I died, now I'm in another world, unless it's a more goofy series. So, Bone Collection by Jun Kirarazaka. I don't. Have I seen anything else that this person has done? Razaka. I do know that this person was an assistant for The Last Sayuki, which I really, really loved. But has he done anything else? Doesn't seem like it, no. So far, like, even in this shot, not a big fan of the character designs, but I mean, that can always change. Sure, whatever. This is, I assume, the main character. He looks okay. Like, I like the Exorcist uniform. And then this girl also looks okay, fine. Actually, I just noticed she has horns, like, actually coming out of her. Like, we have the actual transition here from hair into bone, as opposed to, like, if it was just covered with a little tuft of hair, then maybe it's maybe it's something she's wearing. But I guess then she is most likely a yokai. Okay, and I will say, this page is a good way to show that, like, this isn't a masquerade-esque series. Like, this isn't a series where the stuff is happening, but it's being hidden from the world. Like, it is just straight up being taught in school. It is modern history. I mean, this is a strong. I don't know if I'd call it a strong introduction to his character. This is an introduction to the character. Like, we know he's an exorcist. He's horny. Okay, let's see this fight. Oh, this is not a good fight. This isn't happening well. I wonder how exorcists are chosen then. Like, is it something that's passed down? Because, like, clearly he doesn't seem to be good at this. And, like, clearly his friends don't think he's good at it either. There's something about the proportions that I find really weird. I don't know what it is specifically, but, like, this page is also really bugging me with the heads and the bodies. Also, what did she do? I mean, to be fair, we haven't established how exorcists fight yokai yet. So maybe some sort of jutsu? Okay, there are generally two ways to become an exorcist. One is to possess exorcist talents, sure. The other way is to be born into one of the 5 exorcist families. Okay, so it's a combination of sometimes it's passed down, but also you can just, become an exorcist. Okay, so clearly that was supposed to be a spell that would make the yokai stronger. So, maybe that's going to be. I mean, I haven't quite gone to why the series is called Bone Collection, but I guess maybe the difference is going to be that all the exorcists fight yokai and send them back to the yokai world, but he's going to make yokai stronger, but fight with them to send bad yokai to the yokai worlds. Because, like, that is a very functional intro of this, like, not all yokai are bad. Like, they can be, at the very least, harmless. I also really can't tell what the tone of the series is. Like, it's not a comedy series. Like, I mean, it is doing what a lot of Jump series do, where it is a mix of comedy and seriousness, and then almost certainly, as the series goes on, it's going to lose most of the comedy. But none of the comedy has made me laugh. I've giggled a little bit, but it hasn't really been that funny. I mean, I can't tell if he knows that she's a yokai or not. I assume so. Like, she came from the yokai world, and she very clearly has horns and claws. But I guess it might be a situation where if the yokai isn't rampaging, then they take them to the police. Oh, my son has never discriminated between human or yokai. Oh, so actually, it might be a Guardian of the Witch-esque series where he's, like, running around with this yokai girl and he can make her stronger, and then she, I assume, is already going to be very strong. So it's she's real strong, she's going to be a danger to the world, but I gotta protect her, or I've got to help her because I don't want her to, get arrested or be killed situation. Because then, like, that would also set up the love triangle here, where you got the childhood friends, she's extremely powerful, she could banish the yokai girl, but he won't let her because he's in love with her. So, also, like, clearly that wasn't an accident then. Like, she does want to be here. So, for what purpose? Ah, and that's why the cover art and stuff focused so much on her boobs, because of he likes the H cups. Hmm? Wait, so does he not know that she's a yokai? Because, I mean, the horns are very apparent. Or, when they said he doesn't discriminate between human and yokai, did they mean that literally he can't? Like, does he have a species blindness? I mean, I hope after this, he's gotta say that he knows that she's a yokai. They're spending so much time together. Like, this is all night. Okay, so, again, like, I guess it is supposed to be, like, you aren't supposed to know whether he knew at the start that she was a yokai, but it doesn't matter. Like, he doesn't care, which is fine. Wait, did he not notice that she's a yokai? Like, that should be I mean, to be fair, again, he might be assuming that this is cosplay. Like, also, I do like her statement. I just think it'd be more to be fair, this might not be the way she looks, or the way she really looks. Like, it could be a Spice and Wolf situation where she can look more humanoid because I assume she's very powerful, but then her true form is gross or disgusting or grotesque. Oh, I can't crush her. Her bones are too strong. And of course, he is cupping right below the boobs to push them up further. I mean, I do appreciate the balls on him for this, because he is bad. Oh boy! Oh boy! But okay, so he's definitely going to boost her strength. Oh, and then maybe she'll look grotesque. Like, again, that would be a really good way of showing his resolve, that regardless of what she looks like, he still cares about her as, a fellow person, regardless. Oh. Borrowing Yokai's powers. I honestly like that a lot less. Like, I like the concept of a main character who makes other characters really strong, and then they themselves get stronger at a accelerated pace because they know so many strong people. But I'm not sure if I really like the idea of him, absorbing her powers and then becoming strong in order to protect her. And okay, so we are setting up the Rider-esque stakes of, if you use this power too much, you'll become a yokai. Which, of course, he will refute later on in the series with, it doesn't matter what I become, I'm still me. Oh, the sword he had in the two-page spread was from her. Like, that is how he uses others' powers. Like, he pulls weapons out of them. Homie, right now, I mean, how far am I? Okay, I've got a little more to go before I make my big statement, but right now, I would not say it's great. Oh no! I am the bone of my boob. Now, the idea of him getting in trouble if someone sees him is actually, like, that is a dynamic I actually really like, because that allows for a world where everyone knows about yokai. Like, it's not a secret, but what the main character does is in fact a secret. Like, I actually do like that. Also, his hair down looks a bit cooler, but it's still not a great design. Like, I like the Exorcist robes. I think those are cool. And his hair looks better now, but something's a little off. Like, it still looks a bit too generic. But okay, so it's not just that the weapon stores the strength and he uses the weapon. It is like, his entire body absorbs the strength, and then the weapon is a bonus? I guess? Ah, SSS class. So that also helps to establish the stakes in that we fought an A-class demon, but it's not that we have A-class and then an S-class and that's it. There is an SSS class, and we don't know if the other letters also have multipliers, so he could have been not that interesting, or, not that strong, all things considered. It is pretty whack power scaling. if he starts to assemble a... See, I don't know if we're going to go down the friendship route or the harem route now. It could go either way. I mean, Bone Collection is actually a very good title if it's going to be a harem series. Or if it is, just a, these are my friends, they are my bone collection. Like, because I can pull their bones out and use their powers. Like, I could see a reason then why he wouldn't use an SSS class demon's power all the time, because it's too conspicuous. Like, he would have to intentionally use lower amounts of power. I might read chapter 2, but, like, so far, very shaky. Don't have a ton of hope for it. But it's in that level where I may or may not read chapter 2 on the channel. If I don't, I'll probably still read it by myself. Like, I'm interested enough in how they're going to establish this triangle, and like what is the overall premise of the series. But as a first chapter, it was not a great first chapter. Like, this is not a first chapter where I would hand it to someone and say, just read this, and then let me know if you want to read the series. This feels like you gotta read the first volume to know if you're gonna like the series sort of series. So, but yeah, I am curious to see how this shakes out. Was not affected at all by the backstory with his friends, just because the first 2 times we saw his friend, it was like the panels were very comedic almost. Like, it was that, and also like I couldn't connect. Like, now that I've seen the context, okay, I get why this makes sense. Like, he's thinking about the yokai spell and he can fight so much better, but if I use it, then he thinks of his friend who was executed, and then of course the fact that he was also locked up for 3 months because of it. I still don't know whether he knew that she was a yokai or not. Because even at the end, like, was he saying, oh, you're a yokai after all, in a pure, like, I knew it, but just to confirm, like, I did pull a sword out of you, that doesn't work on humans, 100% you're a yokai. Or was he still on the fence? Did he think that she was just a chunie who said, would you still like me if you knew I wasn't a person? I mean, his first response when she was eating pancakes was, oh, you're from another country. Like, I don't know why he would say that if he knows that she's a yokai. Like, she's not trying to hide it or anything. Like, it's not to make her feel, more at home. That is a line that only makes sense as a line that explains his thought process. I mean, to be fair, a lot of people fall out of the sky in Japan. That's just manga. But yeah, not super interested in him. I'm interested in both of the girls. Like, they both have personalities. Not a ton of personality right now, but like, I liked seeing her experience the human world for a bit. I'm curious to see what she wants to do here. And I like the idea of his childhood friend, especially because it doesn't seem like she's related to one of the 5 clans. Like, they didn't bring it up or anything. I think the insinuation was supposed to be, he's from one of the 5 clans and he's super bad, whereas she's not and she's extremely good. So he has that, he has that complex. I mean, it's possible that we'll also get a Dr. Stone situation where, after a point, he stops being the main character and then it's all yokai. No, that's not happening. There's no way the series is doing that. Oh no, Zaku! No, I don't want it. I don't want everyone important to have a secret magic bloodline that is important. That is the reason why they are good people. Yeah. When Don't was reading it, I remember the general consensus in that call when my head was turned away. The consensus was, each of these pages feels like it's from a different jump starts. And I can't fight against that.
This first page is the most generic. This is the template for how you start a jump start.
This is, yeah. It bothers me so much because I've seen, like, unless it's a comedy series where the joke is, like, we're gonna give you this very basic premise, and then as the series goes on, it's actually extremely different from what you thought it was. Like, that's the only time I've ever seen this setup work.
Yeah, like Mob Psycho.
Yeah. But in any other situation where it is just, alright, it's an Exorcist series. Yeah, yokai from yokai worlds. Exorcists, they fight the yokai. It's like, why do we need this page?
We know! We know what yokai are!
Either do the page and then subvert it, or don't do the page, and we just know, because we read Jump, and Jump always has 5 yokai series in it every year.
Jump should just start with this page. Because it covers most of their series.
I would like it if Jump started off with, like, a grand unifying page, where it is just, like, this is the Silver Age of manga. Great heroes are doing various things. I mean, it's really hard to square up every series of Jump under one unified banner.
I mean, you could square up, I think, to get the vast majority of them, it's this page.
Mm-hmm. Also, why was this a color page?
That's how you do color pages, man. Crippled Lamb said it perfectly in the server a little while ago, and when she was so surprised when a color page was in the middle of a chapter, because it was actually on a page that felt like it, was good with color, as opposed to always when a series with color pages, it's the first page, and the author says, I'm going to use that for a recap.
Because it also, like, maybe we'll see these characters in the future, but none of this is like, a character design that you're gonna see again. Even here, like, we should have gotten the 2 main characters and also his childhood friend, because she's very important. But I don't know what her colors are. One of the only characters in the whole series, I don't know what her colors are. But I know what these random people's colors are. Also, these yokai, like, with the, cracks in space, and then, they got the big, bony mask thing going on, they do feel very much like hollows from Bleach. Well, that's Bone Collection. We'll see if I read Chapter 2. It's, well, let's move on from...
You know what? I would like to see an Exorcist series run and Jump of an Exorcist exercising all the yokai series out of Jump. The series itself in universe is exercising all the series out, and out of universe is trying to be so good that they cancel the other series and just have the one good yokai series. And it's about how bad all the other ones are.
It's like if in Bakuman they ran a series that was just cancel One Piece, and the goal of Bakuman was to get so big that One Piece got canceled.
Exactly.
I see.
I mean, that was the goal of Crow.
I mean, yeah.
Literally the goal of Crow was to get so big that he could cancel One Piece. I mean, that wasn't the in-universe.
Yeah.
Crow in-universe was not saying, I want to take down One Piece.
I mean, we saw the table of contents so many times. One Piece was never on it. One Piece is gone.
That's true.
We don't know what happens.
Read your series. Stop looking at me. No, read your manga.
I like you. I want to read this series.
I'm not saying anything. You're just staring at me.
Oh, yes. This is the weekly Shonen Jump.
I'm not sure they can hear you.
They can't. I'm speaking directly into your face. Okay, I'm all recharged now. My will to live has been restored.
Your wheel to live?
My wheel to leave. Which is a way to say car.
Read your manga!
No, I don't want to! Please, no more Bone Collection. I don't wanna.
Then move on to the next thing!
Okay, in order to save my life, we're moving on to Moriking, Chapter 2. So, now this is what I want from a color page. I want Moriking's house.
This is a good color page. I don't know what the hell the series is about. I did not see anything from Chapter 1. This is a good color page.
Like, you have the 3 principal characters. You have Moriking's house, which we've never seen. But this is what his house looks like. This is what Moriking looks like. These are the 2 other characters. Their designs don't really matter, but I like that we have the colors for them.
It's a good color page. It's not a recap of what a yokai series is.
This isn't a recap of... Actually, it's a spiritual recap of Moriking, but, like, this is all new information. But this is the recap of their feelings, which is Shota likes it, Shoko does not like it. That's all you need to know for Moriking. Also, Moriking looks handsome. That's it. That's the series.
I have no idea what the series is.
I swear to God, that is the series.
I have
This is a recap of the whole series. This is all you need. Also, the wildest thing about this is the off-the-shelf beetle mat, which is 200 kilograms. Can you actually do that in Japan? Like, do you just go to the store, to the pet shop, and say, I need 200 kilos of beetle mats? Previously on Moriking. Now, see, this is the recap page, and it's not taking up a color page. I mean, it's also a good triangle. It is the Shota, it is the handsome man, and it is the tsundere sister, who is funny. I like how tsundere she is, because there's actually a very wide gap between the Tsun and the dere. The Tsun is, I hate this. Why is this man in our house? This is terrifying. Why is everyone okay with this? And then the dere is, he is cute. Which works, because he is cute. Like, if you look at him, he is very attractive. I get why, as a teenage girl, he would find her attractive. Or, I mean, why she would find him attractive. And I also understand why, rationally, she would say, what is happening? Why is he here? I don't understand what's happening with the world. Ah. Okay, so we learned in chapter 1 that he was born king, but he isn't the only candidate. So he was born as a candidate to be king. Also, this might be the most Japanese thing I've ever seen, which is that, the insect world consists entirely of Japan. It's just Japan, but it is the insect worlds. Each nation sends a single representative. It's peak Japan. But okay, but this is also building off of the fight in chapter 1, which was it was an interesting fight, but presumably the other fights are going to be more not one-sided, because they're not going to be literal tiny insects that he can step on. It is going to be other handsome men that he punches. Although, actually, I will say, out of the 5, I bet one of them is not going to be a human being shaped insect at all. Like, I'm betting that we're gonna have another one that's a handsome man. We're gonna have one that is female. Not sure if she's gonna be like, an older lady or like a lolly. And one of them is 100% just going to be a insect for the big subversion. Like, it'll be an insect, but it'll still be strong enough to beat up Moriking. Oh, half deer, half deer, half stag doesn't make any damn sense, but like half deer, half praying mantis would be pretty dope.
What do you mean half deer, half stag doesn't make sense?
Because how does half deer, half stag work as the insect king? A deer's not an insect. A stag's not an insect.
Yes, what are you thinking of? A stag beetle.
He said stag.
What were you thinking of?
A stag.
He's talking about an animal and an insect combined.
Stag.
I know what you're talking about, but it's Actually, no, I don't know what you're talking about. What are you talking
stag.
about?
All of these. This is what a stag is.
I guess, to be fair, saying half deer, half stag is probably the worst term that you could have used.
It's all deer.
But, because I do get your confusion. It does sound like you're saying half deer, half deer.
Yeah.
Or half deer, half stag. Right, that is the name for it.
Yes.
It sounds wrong. I was trying to think of what's the name for a male deer. Oh, yeah.
A stag.
But I get what he's saying. He wants the stag beetle horns instead of the horse's horns.
Okay. See, now that we've been talking about it, I got it. I'm not fighting you anymore with this one.
Did I say horse horns?
But okay. Then... Also, like, depending on what the others do, it could be a cool way to, like, how do I put this? Moriking living with this family is actually not a very good use of his resources if the purpose is to be, the king of the insects and to improve the lives of all insects. Like, it's very possible one of them might be, like, a big CEO that, like, imagine Jeff Bezos, but he doesn't care about humans. I mean, Jeff Bezos doesn't care about humans, but a Jeff Bezos that only cares about insects. So this is the next hurdle. God, I love how extremely innocent, I love how innocent he is. Oh, you could marry Moriking. That's actually a surprisingly not gag explanation for why they're definitely not going to break off his horn. I wonder if the joke is going to be that their family is just completely fine with this. They seem extremely lovey-dovey, so maybe this will work out. The year is 2020. Okay. This is not what I expected. Oh no! What has he done with that horn, Shoko? Now, which of these is the better solution? Like, it does feel like a series where Shota being himself is going to work out overall in the end. In which case, I do think him being honest and saying he's the rhinoceros beetle we raised should work. But I don't know how. Like, I do appreciate this isn't a world that works on gag manga logic. Like, in Chapter 1, everyone was actually pretty realistic considering this man wearing a backpack and a big horn fighting rhinoceros beetles. Okay, so, I mean, the secret of his wings is out at the very least. Like, you can't yada yada past that. I mean, that's actually a big drop. Oh, that could actually be a sort of, what am I thinking of? Like an assassination classroom-esque, like setup for how Moriking will run as a series. Like, if we have a time limit of 1 year until Moriking dies, then that actually is a really good way to, like, to keep the momentum of the series going. Because then, presumably, all of the animal, not all of them, but most of the animal kings are going to die relatively soon. So if Moriking's going to be the absolute king, he's got to do it real fast. And that would also allow the series to, have the king of the insects exist and do something and then not be a real big thing overall in the world. Or when I say the world, of course, I mean Japan. That is some terrifying mom acceptance. Also, I do appreciate that even though we do have the split of one parent per child, like they're on this, like one parent is on the same side as one child, but they're all very different in how they interact with Moriking. Also, he's nocturnal. We've never seen him sleep in the daytime, though. He's been awake so much. Though I guess to be fair, maybe he's just very tired because they keep him up in the morning all the time. Huh. Also, yeah, this is summer, so if the series goes through 1 year, we're gonna have to have, like, a whole arc or multiple arcs that take place in the winter, which is gonna be real weird for insects. Like, do beetles hibernate? Are we gonna have, like, a Moriking sleeps for 1/4 of his life arc? Overall, good chapter. Like, it wasn't a bust a gut laughing chapter, but it was good. Like, it was, I don't think it was, oh boy, I forgot to put Bone Collection down. How could I have forgotten? I mean, I forgot because I was so distracted. So that goes to the bottom. No surprise there. Moriking, I think, does not hit Actage levels, but it's there. It's above Black Clover. Like, Bone Collection is almost certainly not going to continue on the channel. Moriking, I think, might. I might move it to the pre-recordeds, though. Like, I'm not having a lot of fun discussing it with the audience that much, just because, like, there's not a lot to say right now. I mean, sure, it does sound like it came a little out of nowhere, but at the same time, I do 100%, like, because of how small scale it is, because it is the ruler of the insect world, but it's also constricted to Japan, and also Moriking will die within a year. Like, it does feel like a side plot in a gag series. I can buy that. Still, at the very least, like, we know a little more about where the plot's going. We've got the other Insect King candidates out there somewhere. So I'm very excited to slowly learn about all of them. Let's move on to Undead Unluck, Chapter 14, Dream. Oh yeah, I used to put these in voice chat, didn't I? Undead Unluck, Chapter 14, Dream. Oh yeah. That's, It's been a while, like, we haven't seen Longhair Fuko since Chapter 1, I believe. I don't want her to fully grow out her hair again, like, definitely not to the length it was all the way back then. Actually, I guess this could be modern Fuko, actually. Because she usually has her hair in the hats, but it's not that short. Like, it's not, like, Andy didn't cut it unbelievably short. So maybe. God, she's adorbs. So we got the suicide bombers. This arc might be over pretty soon. Like, I don't think this is going to be enough. We've got to have a big dramatic finish with the negators themselves. Also, maybe he'll do something. I can't. If this arc finishes without us knowing what his negation is, like what his word is at all, like we don't need to have a full in-depth breakdown of what his ability is, but we don't know his word. That's so weird. Ah, this is such a good panel. I mean, in general, I also just love this dynamic of you gotta touch the zombies. The zombies are. I mean, I guess it's good because, Fuko's all about not being touched, and zombies traditionally are about not being touched. So this panel really encapsulates the counterculture feel of the series. It's all about these two things that should not touching a lot and then dying. I mean, not Fuko, everyone else is dying. But okay, can they, like, how do they take these timers off? It's also possible, actually. They might keep the timers on forever. We don't fully understand what makes the timers go up. It seems to be like something involving positive emotion or remembering what you love. Like, it seems to be a despair timer. So I guess we could say that, the characters could just spend the rest of the series with the timers on them, just constantly having to think about good things. But that would. I like that concept, but at the same time, that'd be such a weird concept. So there's got to be a way to not fail this quest, but also, is it that it's now reabsorbing all the zombie stuff wraps? It's entered its second phase. Oh, that is a pretty dope design, though. For what purpose? Also, wait, what? That is unbelievable range to hit the Statue of Liberty from there. But okay, so it knows what a quest is, and it is like, it does blame Apocalypse for it. So actually, I was acting as if Apocalypse was unrelated to anything else, but maybe Apocalypse is an Uma, but just, it's an Uma that is willing to support the Union. Oh, I didn't consider that, actually. Like, we got the shots, and I was thinking of it as just Shen, Shen saying that, and just being happy. But I guess this was him. What is his ability? I mean, it might be that you can't attack something, or that the motion. Because before he was able to paralyze Fuko, or it seemed like that. But this is an actual redirection of the arm. And yeah, like now that I'm looking for it, you do have the speed lines showing that the arm is like being whooped over there. Well, we had one page between "you mustn't let it hit you" and then both of them being hit by it. Yeah, it does have a very parts bullets feel to it. Yeah, it was at the Union when he, did the shooty everyone move. But yeah, I mean, Andy is a perfect counter to him. The big question is, how can anyone else help? Because now, presumably, they don't have any more zombies. Fuko's unluck doesn't work unless she touches it, which she can't because she will spoil once she's anywhere near it. Okay, I imagine Shen's going to create an opening then. Maybe it is a situation where it has to have some level of intent. So if Shen can redirect its spoiling, then Fuko can get in close enough to start touching him. I do like this concept because it is something that philosophically we think about a lot. Like, the idea that this is a natural part of life, therefore we have to accept it and see the beauty in it. But Undead Unluck does fight against that concept. Like, it is a series that says, every rule that is bad in this world is optional. Or it's not optional, but it was imposed and it can be removed. Like, what Spoil's saying isn't necessarily wrong from a philosophical point of view. But the answer is, like, like, sure, there is change, but what if you want that stagnant world? What if nothing ever decays? Like, it still might not be a net bonus. There might be something bad that happens as a result of nothing being able to decay. But at the same time, because I mean, like, death will still exist without spoil. So is it just that, you live and you are pristine up until a point, and then you just fall, you fall down, you die, and then after that, your body stays the same until, you may be burned if you want to. I have a dream. People live with the bodies they're born with and use them to pursue their dreams no matter the size. Oh, God, that's actually a really cool line from Foucault. Like, up until this point, like, her big character arc has been being willing, like, not killing herself, and then being willing to walk alongside Andy. But I haven't really seen a lot of, she, like, she has been pretty passive. And I really, really like that she is taking a stance with this one. Like, this isn't just her view towards spoil. It is, I assume, her view going forward for all of the rules. Also, did it not know about the timer, perhaps? Or, I mean, did it not know that the timer can go up? Because that would also explain why it hasn't been trying to, like, find and kill the kids, if it's completely unaware of them. Okay. And Shen's dream is to be the greatest in all creation, which caused his timer to go up, so it might be dreams. A couple chapters ago, we had the kids, and I'm pretty sure, like, the really little kid that was about to have their timer go down, like, they made it go up by talking about their dream for the future. Also, the Unbreakable staff, looking good. It's got a very, like, Nyoibo look to it, sort of. I'm pretty sure Shen is going to be Undead Unluck's Hisoka. Really? Like, in what way? God, that was a real fun chapter. I like this form way more than the previous form. Like, I guess just because it has more expression to it. It has more personality. But yeah, I do like that point to it. And I do think, in general, like, uh, Shen might be the most clear one, but I think the entire union's going to have sort of that role of they're not opposing Andy and Foucault, but they're also not good people. Like, I think they are going to be mostly nebulous for the whole series. Because that is just a good way to create conflict and to make it clear that, yeah, like, we don't have to have conflict come in just from the UMA. It could also just, be interpersonal union conflicts. That is true, and we still have not seen Victor as he wanted to see him. Yeah, I think that makes sense. Like, if if Victor is the strongest, if he is the greatest, then the easiest way to prove that you are the greatest would be to beat him. And even if it's not necessarily like that Andy is the greatest, it could also be that Andy is legendary, and so beating him is one way to say that you are a candidate to be the greatest. Everything in this chapter was great. Like, it was very straightforward while at the same time being very engrossing. Like, this is something that I do think Black Clover could stand to draw, to look a little more into. Like, this felt very Black Clover-esque in terms of the pace, but it felt like there was a little more there. Like, Black Clover, I think, feels a little more surface level on a lot of things, like, especially when it comes to philosophy and people care, like, talking about their views. It tends to be a lot more shallow. Whereas, like, everything in this chapter, even though, like, it's still pretty shallow, we don't know that much about spoil. Like, I still gave this enough thought. Like, this didn't feel like a very generic, like, even though I have heard this specific argument before, it didn't feel generic. It had personality to it. I believe in one of the other discussions, someone brought up the idea of just unbreakable box or unbreakable, glass cage. That's what I'm probably going with, especially since it does seem like, Unbreakable can make stuff and then have it completely leave his sphere of influence and it's still unbreakable. I don't think we'll get this now, and I don't think we'll get it in the near future. But at some point in the series, I would like to get a timeline of what rules were enacted when, because I do think that it's not that important for how the world is right now, because, like, presumably, regardless of whether death came before or after spoil, like, as long as both of them are active, the world as it is right now, like, regardless of when they're implemented, the world would change to be a world where spoiling and death both existed the entire time. But I do think that maybe the older Uma might be, the older rules and the Uma associated with those rules might be more knowledgeable as to how the world was way at the very starts. Because, like, spoil specifically saying the world before my birth is a really interesting concept. Like, either Spoil is aware of the world before his birth, or there is some sort of entity that told him about it. Whereas, like, no human we've seen thus far can talk about the world prior to all of the rules implemented. Like, the Union knows what rules were implemented, but they don't seem to be able to say, what the. I mean, to be fair, we haven't really had a deep discussion about that. But nothing we got in the big meeting, like, even hinted at the idea that they knew what the world really, like, that they have experience with the world pre certain rules. Oh, yeah, sludge hair is real nice. I mean, it's so gross, but it's also a good aesthetic. It also does create the billowing smoke that outlines Foucault here. Like, the composition of this is really, really good. Okay, did I rank it? No, I didn't. That is going very solidly above Actage. I do like how this visor is split up. Like, it's got the aesthetic sort of a power level scouter, but at the same time, it is like, it feels more substantial. I think it is that just in Japan, like, Cyclops monster sharp teeth is just like, it's a common look. And I do think, again, like, this is something that Undead Unluck does really well, that something like Bone Collection didn't really do. The Bone Collection yokai were not interesting looking. Whereas, like, even though Spoil has a look that is like, that has a lot of features of the generic Oni, it also looks very distinct in its own way. And I can easily see how, like, all the spikes and the sludge and, like, the exposed muscle, I can see how that could look really bad edgy, but I think it looks very good edgy. Like, I'm honestly really surprised by how good it looks. Although, to be fair, it also works because he is Spoil. He is meant to look a bit gross, and so from that perspective, it's also just a really good design. Alright, that's Undead Unluck. Next is Chainsaw Man, Chapter 67. The First Devil Hunter. The First Devil Hunter. Which, and of course, we have big shot of Toka's master, whose name, if we got it, I don't remember. Sorry. Now, this could just be, like, it could be unrelated. It could just be, this is an image of her with the dolls behind her. I mean, she is also, I guess at this point, German Santa Claus. But, like, what are we saying here? Assuming the title is relevant to her, are we saying that German Santa Claus might be the first devil hunter? Because, actually, German Santa does have a very specific aesthetic to him. Like, specifically the fact that we've never seen, like, he doesn't seem like he's a physical fighter, but, he works mainly off of contracts. Maybe he was the first person to ever realize that you can do a contract with the devil without the devil coming to you first. Like, maybe he is the reason why modern devil hunting, with the idea of, getting devils that are friendly to humans, then making contracts with them, like, maybe he's the reason why that all happens. And now he's all fat and bloated from years of excess, making money off of his, big devil hunting profits. Which I can also buy. I just feel like the old man design works better for what I thought he was, like, in terms of age. Though, to be fair, we also don't know, like, the history of the worlds. And also, to be fair, we also don't know if she's just unaging. Like, she could easily, like, German Santa has a lot of contracts. That's what we know about her. There's no reason why she couldn't have a contract with, the unaging devil. Or maybe with Eternity, actually. Because Eternity died pretty recently. So if she had a contract with Eternity that just said, make me never age, then even though a little time has passed, it wouldn't be enough for her to noticeably age. Also, that's pretty wild for him to say that he's a third-rate hunter. Like, hot damn. I mean, it also, changes the power scale of the series quite considerably, because now we know, like, Makima is main, like, she seems like she's the ceiling, but even that is not necessarily the case. She's important, she's strong, but she's not, untouchable. I mean, he also might just be saying that, you're full of shit. She didn't get a bunch of third-rate hunters. We're all really good. Okay. There are no rats, birds, or anything nearby. Makima borrows the hearing of lower forms of life. So it isn't that she can hear anything anywhere. There have to be living things around. And that would tie into like it's lower forms of life. So it's not a specific animal. But then we also have her like doing the thing where the swarm of rats turned into her. Like I don't even want to say contracted, but maybe she has some connection to like the swarm devil for example. I mean, it could also be that she just has a ton of contracts with a ton of devils that all represent lower forms of life because they're relatively cheap to make. Life devil could be possible, actually. I mean, I guess we also need to know how broad the devils can be. Like, we know they're, like, there's the octopus devil, but there are a ton of different types of octopus, and, like, the octopus just kind of coalesces all the general fears humans have regarding all octopi. But then, like, could there be an animal devil that just coalesces all the fears that humanity has about animals in general? Because I'm not even saying that would be a strong devil. Because I do think if we have, a bunch of animals, then we have the animal devil. I do think the animal devil's powers would be split up. Like, it would be all the fear that everyone feels towards all animals, but also divided up by all the animals that exist, including the ones that no one fears at all. So it would actually, like, on average, make it a pretty weak devil. But like what Makima wants isn't something extremely powerful. I mean, it is powerful, but it isn't necessarily like it doesn't necessarily expend a lot of energy. If she knows generally where she wants to listen, then she like that's also assuming that she isn't always listening through all animals all the time. Cuz that seems like a real big deal. Like that would be a big contract. But also, like we know that she can just take I mean, that might have been just because it was Toka, and because Toka was a puppet, like a perfect human puppet that she could then puppeteer into saying, I give you all of me, so send us back. But if she could do that with other people, then it's also possible that she could make big contracts and just, stick her hand up a person and make them say, yeah, I want the contract, please, please give it to Makima. I sacrifice myself, thank you. He's so young. Hot dang, I did not think he was going to be in high school. Okay, so legs are not being hurt, and it doesn't seem like she's in the darkness. Like they're on top of the building, right? But the heads are strong. Okay, so she's wrapping the arms. Like that's got to be at least three different sets of arms, all like helixing around to get the big strong arm. Now this is a bit of a tricky wicket because now that she's blown a hole, like she could be anywhere in here and attack them. So I guess the only real safe option would be either to like have another teleportation style devil teleport her away somewhere where there is no shade or destroy the building. But even if they destroy the building, she could just run into a different building. Like that's not a solution. Teleportation is the only thing I can think of. Also, if she wins this, like, can she go back? Can she put together a normal body, or is she just gonna have to live life like this? Because boy, this is a conspicuous design. Okay, of the fiends, this fiend is the one we've seen really the least of because she can't speak. So, what's her plan? Oh, does okay, this is gonna sound real dumb. Does Quan Chi have a Chainsaw Man bomb girl pulley in her eye? Not quite what I was thinking of. I mean, was that in her though? I mean, this ain't Bone Collection. She didn't magically pull that out. Like, there. Hmm. Like, clearly. I mean, she's part of the harem, so clearly this is for a purpose. But for what purpose? Like, hmm. Boy, oh boy, what is happening here? It's real sick, but what is this? I mean, we got the arrows. I mean, the design of her head, which is, it's simultaneously horns, but also a bow. And then this is also a bow. Oh, that's so dope. I mean, is that? I mean, I guess that's probably Quan Chi. Like, what is this? Is she then? Like, because I was already on that path. Like, is she a whatever Denji is? But we didn't see a ripcord. So it can't be. But then did she was she transformed into a fiend then, perhaps? I mean, was Katana Man not a cord as well? Oh. Yeah, in that case, I guess that would be the clear solution. Because it does seem like, yeah. Was it not a cord? I could have sworn she was a cord. Raise a... This is going to be a real bad answer. Like, this is real dangerous in case she shows up in this chapter. But I thought she was a cord. Oh, a grenade pin. Right. I mistook it for a cord because, she did the, hook her finger into it, pull. Okay, I'll close the page so no one sees your shame. But okay. Okay, so, in that case, I was correct about this, but for the wrong reasons. I mean, I guess in the same way that, these people, whatever they are, do need to trigger their transformation. Like, it's not like a fiend where they're just like that always. It's also pretty wild that, like, that she's that powerful without needing to transform. Though I guess, all of them are immortal. So regardless, like, having actual immortality does mean that, you can train harder, you can train faster, you don't have to worry about making a move that'll kill you. So I guess that also would contribute to her fighting style, even without having to trigger her transformation. But yeah, Quan Chi not confirmed dead is a very big bonus. I mean, it's a big bonus for me as a reader. It's a bad one for Denji. Because she is still presumably trying to tear out his chainsaw hearts and give it to someone. But yeah. And so I would say, Zaku, that I do think your original interpretation is correct in that, she is pulling like, you have to pull an arrow out of the quiver that is her eyeball, or her eye sockets. I do think I would have understood that a bit clearer if I hadn't just read Bone Collection, because I was also thinking, like, is this fiend just pulling a secret weapon out of Quan Chi to, to avenge her with? I think we as, like, on my channel, I think we as a community have talked about it a lot as whatever is scary right now is what makes the devil dangerous. But I don't think I've considered until now the idea of what if it's all human fear since the start of humanity? Like, what if all the fear people had about arrows, back in the medieval ages, still carries over to the arrow devil now? Like, historical scariness. Because I would agree, like, if the fear only applies to, like, modern fear, like right now in this moment, how scared is everyone of this one thing? And I do think Arrow Devil would be extremely weak. But historical scariness, I think, would play a big factor into it. Also, this is a bit of a stretch. I don't fully believe in this one. But what if because, like, in China, let's say that in China they don't use guns anymore, they do use bow and arrows again. Specifically because they want to weaken the gun devil. And so there is a large community in the modern world of Chainsaw Man where everyone is scared of arrows. Homie, you actually do bring up a good point. Like, it could also be actually that in the same way that devils that are more human shaped are also more likely to ally with humans. Like, that is a rule in the series. In the same way, maybe weapon-based devils are the only ones that can combine with humans in this way, or weapon/tool devils, because they are things that were created by humans for the express purpose of, of assisting humans. Like, humans are... Sorry, I just kicked the mic. But, like, humans are scared of them, sure. But they are fundamentally, at their core, something that is meant to aid humans. Whereas, like, the primal fears exist, they predate humans. So they would have no care one way or the other. I do think that, by that logic, Gun Devil has to fuse with someone by the end of the series. If only because, from what little we know of the Gun Devil, it seems to be big and powerful just because of the amount of flesh that's been scattered around the world, and, the big craters it caused, which I don't think would be a very fun... I mean, it'd be a cool final fight. It'd be a very, Metal Gear Rising Revengeance fight, in, the big scale of Denji having to fight this giant thing. But I think it'd be a lot more... it'd be easier for us as the audience to grasp if the Gun Devil fuses with a human, even if it's not a human we know. It could just be a rando, just to give it a human design. Oh no, not the Gun Devil ravioli. I was recently listening to someone who was talking about how they, as a human being, can't swallow pills, and so they, much like a dog, have to every time they take a pill, they have to get some ravioli and hide the pill in the ravioli, and then swallow the ravioli. I feel like Denji's called himself Chainsaw Man before, but I don't know if anyone's called him Chainsaw Man before now. So this could be the coining of the name. Although, to be fair, it's not even necessarily a name. It could be her just saying, like casually Chainsaw Man. Like, that's what you are. You are a Chainsaw Man. Their faces are so edgy, but this is honestly a very civil conversation. Like, one of the things I do appreciate about Chainsaw Man, honestly, is the fact that Denji isn't, like, he is pretty edgy. He is the guy who, fought an immortal being by shoving his face into it and then drinking its blood constantly. So I'm not going to say it's not that he's edgy, it's that a lot of his dialogue when he is Chainsaw Man is less edgy than you'd imagine it to be, and I like the contrast there. Okay. Boy, oh boy. That's some real Quan Chi. Like, she disappeared in a literal instant. But okay, is that it? Is Santa dead? I mean, they're in the dark, so presumably no amount of destruction should matter here. Oh, she's known as the first Devil Hunter. There's a little Ahego there, yeah. I can see it. I also do appreciate that because her legs are all heads, like, all the heads get to have reactions. Like, they're not great reactions, they are very wooden reactions, but still, it's nice to have all the faces. I wouldn't be surprised if that is, like, if it is that each of these lines is not a speed line, but they are all projectiles. Oh, she gave them all awareness again. I mean, Denji, I don't think is the kind of person who would care about it. I mean, he's not a sociopath, is the thing. I'm so used to characters that are a 100%, like, they're good people. This is mostly an isekai, where they're good people, but then when a bad thing has to get done, they just become a sociopath, and then no one mentions it again. It's just like, yeah, there's a cool guy, they did what needed to be done. That isn't the way Denji is. Like, Denji does have very clear emotions about a lot of things. He'll still do very bad things to people, but he still usually has a moment of going like, oh no, I don't like it. So, I think he'll do it. I think he will kill them, but this might honestly mess him up afterwards. Like, he might need to have a Makima talk. I mean, he's gonna have to have a real big Makima talk, because I imagine he's also going to ask a little about hell. Like, he's not the kind of person who I think would talk a lot about it, but I think he would at the very least ask, like, what happened there? What is this? At the very least, if he doesn't, the rest of the section is probably going to ask a couple questions. Like, now that they know that this was on some level bait. The art is dope AF. Also, like, with the way that she looks around before she, uses Quan Chi's trigger, I wonder if this was a situation where, like, Quan Chi would rather be sliced to pieces than have her girl see her like that. Like, with the exception of this girl because she can't talk. Either that, or it might be a thing where she's told all of them about it, but she's just said, like, if the rest of you are dead, then do this. Or if it looks like I'm dead. But otherwise, don't. I mean, honestly, Zaku, we may have hit the wall, actually, where, like, if Denji knew a little more, I think he would ask bigger questions. But because he's been, because he's been so unaware of everything happening, it's very possible that he might just not care. Like, he knows so little that then he has no real motivation to ask about anything. Okay, I could also buy that. Like, I was taking away her own agency. I do think it makes sense for her to, be doing this as a act of revenge upon the situation against the doll, because she knows Quan Chi's going to beat the crap out of all of them. I don't know if that goes above Undead Unluck, honestly. Like, it was good, but there were only a few pages I thought were really standouts. A lot of it was more, going through the paces. Like, it was nice to ground ourselves in everything going on. But I feel like it goes here. I think that's fair. Like, there's a lot here, and I do like how, like, Chainsaw Man can have a ton of pages where no dialogue happens, and then still be very, very dense. Like, it does a good job of balancing the, the talk to art ratio in a way that stands out from other series, while at the same time isn't wonky or weird. It never feels wrong to me. So yeah, I'll say Undead Unluck is just edging out Chainsaw Man this week. Next is Dr. Stone, chapter 148. We're 2 away from 150. It feels so recent. Like, chapter 100 feels so recent, is what I'm trying to say. So unbelievably recent. Dr. Stone, Z equals 148. Pioneers of Earth. Look at that boiger. Yeah. That's a good burger. This is the We're in America burger. That's a good panel. What is this face? Aw, she's real hungry for that meat. Ah, you can tell it's America because they've all got big noses. This is what they expected, but also, like, I, as an audience member, like, I was considering the possibility that maybe we would have a sudden reveal of, oh, actually, everyone's fine. Or, like, a small group is fine. And I still feel that maybe. But nah, not quite. And to be fair, they have so many more countries to try this with. I think America could be where they're just setting up, like, this is how the journey is going to be. Like, we're going to have to go here. We're going to have to plant stuff. We're going to have to revive the civilization there and convince them all that, you got to be Corn City now. But then after that, I think then they could spice it up with other cultures where also, like, I imagine, like, Senku knows English. A couple other people might know English, but, like, when they go to India, like, how are they going to do that? How are they going to do that in terms of both language and culture? Because I do think, like, a bunch of Japanese people could maybe, like, with enough standing, like, they could revive a ton of Americans and get them to agree that, all right, we're going to revive other Americans and we're going to just make corn. But as you go into less familiar cultures, like, how do you convince, like, an entire foreign country that, all right, this all happens, but you gotta trust us, you gotta only make rubber? I mean, I say only, but when they said, Corn City, Rubber City, Machine City, like, those are things they're going to be focusing on, but they also do have to set up, like, civilizations that can run themselves perpetually. So, there's a lot there. There's a lot there. Huh. Why is my voice chat not updating? I can see it on Donut screen, but I can't see it on my phone, which is concerning. Oh. I mean, I do like Taiju's spirit here. Like, it's so extremely basic, but at the same time, I do think that is important in a situation like this, where every day you're probably going to wake up and go, this is hopeless. Like, this is way too big. Someone like Taiju who can boil it down, like, someone like Senku who can make the roadmap is important, but someone like Taiju who can then say, all we gotta do is this one thing on the roadmap is so important. Like, you gotta take it one step at a time. Which I do really, really love. Like, if Dr. Stone was a series where they constantly freaked out about being in the post-apocalypse, I would hate it. Like, I do appreciate that it is a post-apocalyptic series that doesn't feel like one, that has this feeling of, like, we're gonna fix everything, and it's not that everything's always falling apart. Like, it is a world of opportunity, and we are making progress, and we're gonna spend hundreds of chapters until we do revive all of humanity and we go to the moon. Like, it's that extreme wide scale and that desire to progress on every single step until we actually do get there that I adore. I can't get into a series that is all about living from one moment to the next because it's so small and it's so I can't get invested. Ah, that's neat. The seasons are changing 9 days later now, so it's like it's not something that'll affect the whole series very much, but in this specific moment, it is important. Like, the world has recovered from climate change at this point. But I guess the difference is that, when we say climate change in the modern world, what we mean is climate change as accelerated by humans. But the climate does naturally change as well. Oh boy, it's big gator time. That's such a big gator. Oh my god. It's a real big gator. Oh boy. Oh, Mind Break Tsukasa is so scary. Like, this was such a big flip from, oh no, these gators scary, to, oh no, humans scary. Ah, that's such a good panel. I mean, also, what is Ginro doing here? I mean, nothing. That's why he's all the way on this side. I guess the bigger question is, what is this side doing? Like, the gator, where are the gators in relation to this? But I do think that, like, everyone else is at the very least, like, kind of facing in this direction. Like, not at us, the readers, but, you know, to the side of us, the readers. Whereas Ginro, I think, is aiming at the readers, which is not where the gators are. I'm glad we didn't see it, because I didn't want to see the big swooshy swooshes. I get it. They killed the gators. That's fine. Ah, we got gator burgers. Gator burgers. Oh no, what is this? Oh no. Hmm. This is not how I imagined us getting the corn. Oh, we're gonna revive all of humanity using anus corn. I don't like it. So they got the corn, and I guess, yeah, even if the seasons change, all at the very least, they just need to harvest the corn and then, you know, have it so that they can grow more corn later. No, not vor corn. But yeah, like, I would like to see how the world has changed as a result of that. Like, we know in Japan, for instance, like, zoo animals are now, like, just straight up wild animals that are around. And, like, they've got, you know, monkeys and stuff. I mean, Japan has monkeys anyways, but, like, you know, they got more monkeys. But yeah, I'd like to see, I'd like America specifically to be the, you know, what is animal life like right now arc. Like, which zoo animals survived, which normal animals, like, did a big rebound from extinction. I think that'd be really fun. And again, like, I do think the later cities are going to have more human problems. Like, the later cities plus the establishment of Corn City is going to be a big thing. But I don't think we need to have, like, real human conflict until the later cities, because we've got so many more to go. I'm gonna be honest, homie. I could not tell you. Like, I'm not usually looking at Kohaku's boobs. I think it might be because her outfit right there is kind of doing the boob sock thing, where, like, it envelops the whole thing, as opposed to, you know, like, having a stretch across. But yeah, like, I think it's just the angle. I don't think they're actually drawn to be much bigger. Anyways, that's Dr. Stone. That's the big American chapter. We got burgers. We got corn. We got all we need. They're in San Francisco. Ah, what else could fun? I mean, one thing I think we're going to see the shape of San Francisco being different because, of course, the fault line is there. I imagine the last 3,700 years, like, we finally destroyed the entire coastline, so that's gone. I'm curious to see what else has changed. Like, I doubt they'll find anything human made, but then again, actually, like, I imagine San Francisco is a place that has a lot of time capsules or, like, places where people, you know, like, left some stuff in case humanity were to be annihilated. Like, it seems like the kind of area. I mean, LA in general has that vibe of, you know, people who want to do big long-term projects, so they bury something and fill it with concrete and they wait 10,000 years. Homie, you might be right. It's just that we haven't really seen anyone else age very much. But it could be a Nami situation. Like, she could be hitting that big puberty. Anyways, that's Dr. Stone. Uh, do, 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 Um, like, it wasn't on the same level as Undead and Chainsaw. And did I like the Actage chapter more? I think I did, honestly. It was a good chapter, and I do think it beat Moriking, which I also enjoyed. So sure, that's a fair assessment. Really excited for this arc. I'm so I'm so curious to see what they're gonna do. Like, I'm really hoping it's not human versus human again. But even if it is, they could do some interesting things with just setting up the civilization. Nikki's grown. Damn it, I mean, to be fair, I don't know half the human species. I seem to have no understanding of the way females work, so I'm just gonna leave it at that. But I feel like Nikki's already grown most of the growth she's gonna grow. Damage. Okay, that's Dr. Stone. We got one more thing to read, and that, of course, is My Hero Academia, chapter 269. Oh no. Why am I using the wrong... I hate this. My Hero Academia, number 269. The Three of Us. Okay, so the three of us, I imagine, like we still haven't resolved the whole present Mike, present Mike, Razorhead, Goku Man thing, which I'm feeling pretty weird about. Like, I like Vigilantes. I think what's going on in Vigilantes right now is super dope, but I do think the way it's been integrated into My Hero and vice versa is a little wonky for the specific scenario. So I'm interested to see how this is going to wrap up. Oh boy. Also, like, so she's not going to die from this. Like, she's got the strong will to survive. And I believe Endeavor has trained a lot to make sure that when he's cauterizing the wounds, he makes sure not to do any more damage than he absolutely has to. But from there, like, is she just going to be horribly scarred forever? Or can they bring in, a recovery girl and have her, like, re-heal those parts that were burnt? Loud Cloud, that was it. It sounds very hard, but also, like, she is a top hero. If if Recovery Girl can't do it, they'd better get someone in from America who can, or someone from somewhere who has a better regen quirk. Like, if they're doing this and they didn't plan to, to heal up some people who are grievously hurt, then Hero Society in Japan is insane. Yeah. I mean, we've been seeing her for like over a month now in real time, fighting these Nomu by herself. She does not need to be in the arc anymore. I love her as a character. She's awesome. She's done. We don't need more of her in this arc. She gets to recover. She gets to go home and have some tea. Oh no, those are some big chompers. Oh, I didn't notice the Zap electricity before. But okay, so that does mean, in theory, if they smash the capsule, then he shouldn't be able to wake up. That's actually good. Like, that does give us a win condition that we can't just arbitrarily erase. Oh boy, yeah. I could 100%, because also we do have the weird what's going on with Kaminari situation. If he wasn't here, if he was here, I mean, I could 100% see a situation where he shoots the lightning, wakes up Shigaraki by accident, and then we don't know whether that was an accident or not. Isn't there a guy from One Punch Man who has this exact ability? Like, specifically, having one eye that is a gun that he shoots with. Oh, isn't that the guy from the Hero Association with the electronic eye that shoots the laser that is bad? Mike, what are you doing? What is this pose? What is this Mike pose? Wow, I did not know that. I 100% thought this was a new character. I mean, big ups on Horikoshi for, being able to create such, so many designs, and then also not forgetting about all of them. Like, sure, some of them are probably never going to come back up, especially, like, crowd designs. That's fine. But I'm really glad that the pro heroes, over the course of the series, have felt like pro heroes. Like, even the ones that aren't important still feel like they're around. Like, not that they're important, but that, they exist in the community. They're doing stuff off screen, and then we occasionally see them when they get pulled in for various things. I really like that community feeling of the series. It makes the heroes feel a lot less arbitrary. Oh boy. That's a real wake-up call. That's a real never wake up again call, I mean. Yeah. Bazinga. I nailed it. God, I do love the way Horikoshi draws the reverberation of the sound here. Like, it's so cool. I can 100% see that damage. Like, it is a tribute. Oh. Okay, yeah, so it was the three of us. I don't... If he doesn't do what I thought he was going to do. Like, I thought Shigaraki was going to wake up half-baked and then kill a bunch of people and disappear. But it's also possible that he could just be like this for the foreseeable future. Like, he could just be in the death-like states, and without the capsule, like, maybe he can still progress, but he'll just be unconscious for a long time. so the League would have to, do stuff without him for a while. I could see that. I see there's a big difference between empathy and caring about someone, in that I think Ujiko, what the Doctor is going through is 100% deserved, but I do empathize with the feeling here, and I think that is because Horikoshi is doing a really good job of making it feel like this absolute win for the heroes. But from Ujiko's perspective, it is, he's thrown everything at them and it hasn't been enough, and he's being destroyed by this relentless wave of enemies. Like, it's all over. Everything he's fought for is all gone now. The Lord of Evil's dream will die. Because we're getting the shot of All for One, like, clearly it is, speaking of Lord of Evil's dream, it could also be that he's going to do something. Like, my theory for the longest time has been that All for One doesn't have any quirks anymore. Like, my theory was that he either gave them all to Shigaraki, or he gave them all to the Doctor. Like, he put them all in something and gave it to the Doctor physically for him to, use as he wished. Because in Tartarus, like, you can't use your quirk. If you use a quirk, you instantly get shot to death. So he could, just say, hey, I'm not using my quirks, I'm being a good boy, and then if they ever, test him, then they'd know that he doesn't have any. My big theory now is maybe he does still have either some of his quirks or all of them, and he's going to kill himself, like he's going to sacrifice himself by, using greater teleportation to move Shigaraki now. So he'll activate his quirk, the machine guns will just kill him at where he stands, and, by using his quirk, he'll be able to save Shigaraki. There's also very much the possibility of them taking Shigaraki's corpse to Tartarus, and then he wakes up there and wakes up everyone. Or, I mean, it could also be Shigaraki goes to Tartarus, All for One hears about it, and then he expends his final Hamon by, waking up Shigaraki. Something of that nature. I mean, if All for One has all of his quirks, which is something I haven't really been considering, but if he has all of them and he's locked in Tartarus, then triggering the guns shouldn't do anything to him, really. Like, he can die, but he also has a plethora of regeneration quirks. Like, as long as they don't even if he gets immediately shot in the head, I feel like he might have something that'll allow him to survive being shot in the head. Like, I mean, he had something that allowed him to survive getting his head stomped into the ground by, by All Mights. But yeah, I do feel like either right now or shortly in the future, like, All for One will, sacrifice himself to give Shigaraki the big boost he needs to wake back up. Or, I mean, again, if he has All for One, if he has all the quirks associated with All for One, he could do the big transfer to Shigaraki. Like, that would be an interesting parallel to All Might giving, All for One, or sorry, giving One for All to Deku. If in this final moment he's like, my my pupil, you become so strong. Now you haven't been able to mature the way you were supposed to, but you are now a strong vessel, so now you can take this. And then he ninja stars a piece of his hair into Shigaraki's mouth, and then transfers One for All, or All for One, into him. I really appreciate that. Like, in this moment, it doesn't feel like it feels like a foregone conclusion that the heroes are going to win now. It feels like a decisive victory, but it still has that bittersweet feeling because, we've got crying Ujiko on the ground. And I don't, again, it's bittersweet from his perspective. It can now be framed as slightly bittersweet, even though it is an ultimate victory for justice. Like, I really appreciate that. It gives it a better feeling to me. It gives it a more complicated, interesting, emotional feeling than just saying the heroes are winning is good. Like, it also means that they don't have to artificially say, like, okay, there are actually more high ends, or here's this other thing that'll lengthen the fight more. The fight can be over relatively soon. Like, I imagine the real danger is going to come from not the League of Villains, but like the confused League right now, like from their leaders over in the other facility, laying down the smackdown. But I think this area is pretty much wrapped up right now. I don't think we'll have more drama here, apart from potentially Shigaraki's body being teleported away or something. But I don't think, I think the battle here is about to be wrapped up. And then, I think that would also allow the villa to get more intense, because then we could have a situation there where the heroes start to lose because all the heroes here could then move over there and be a big backup force later on. I think that'd be a good way to keep the arc going without anything feeling stale. God, I mean, how can I not make this number one? This was just a satisfying read to me. It might feel really strange, honestly, that like some of the Mirko chapters that I really loved did not get to first place, but this one did. But there's something about just the fact that this is the big turning point, and that it feels like, I guess I'm rating this for the entire arc up to this point as well, but that's because this chapter does sort of have this big encompassing, like, everything we've done in this arc has led up to this moment. We are now seeing the fruits of all of the effort these heroes have put into this. Like, they get to have a plan that worked. Like, they did everything right, and they get to be rewarded by not having something randomly go wrong at the very end. Plus, we do have, like, the three of us. We get to have this moment. Like, Obero gets to be avenged in some way. It's satisfying. Which, I mean, by the way, if you guys do not read... If you don't read Vigilantes, I would 100% recommend the arc with the three of them in it. Like, it is mostly separate from the rest of the series. I think you could read just My Hero Academia and then just read those chapters, and it should more or less work. I mean, I do think the whole series is good, but if you have a bias against it, I would still recommend those chapters. I think they're good chapters. I don't think Shigaraki wakes up next chapter. I think either... Like, I think the death-like state is a way to Luffy him, essentially. In the same way that in most One Piece arcs, Luffy has to not, to be stopped from fighting the main villain for most of the arc. I think he's being Luffy'd right now, except he's being Luffy'd from life. Because once he wakes up and he hits his full potential, the entire world will be different. Like, he's already powerful enough to dust enormous quantities of people without even, like, flexing. So once he hits, whatever whatever they wanted him to be, once his vessel is that strong, I think the state of the world is going to be different by his very existence. As a result, I think he has to be unconscious for the foreseeable future, or at least for like half an arc. Like, when he wakes up, it's going to be a big deal, and I think it'd be a shame to blow that right now when there's so much else going on. Also, like, I don't think Shigaraki has the willpower needed to do that. Like, I've recently read like two different series, or I've talked about two different series right now that feature characters that wake up from a death-like state with no interference, and it is a badass like show of their willpower. But I don't think Shigaraki has that right now. Like, I do think that is a part of his character. Like, he has been the one who's had his hand held constantly. He has big hopes and dreams and stuff, but a lot of it is, like, it's a slow build. I don't think he has the raw desire to, to pull himself out of death. I think someone needs to pull him out of death. Okay, I think that's all I've really got to say about this chapter. It was fantastic. And I mean, whatever happens, I'm loving this arc. It's been such a good arc. My hero has been on fire. Let's move on to those author comments, and then we can get out of here. Also, because we had the delay last week, for those of you who didn't watch my Promised Neverland big stream, once Promised Neverland starts running in Jump again, I will be adding it to the weekly Shonen Jump streams, because I don't think we have a whole lot left. But, like, we knew that from last chapter to next chapter, there's going to be a month, and I don't know how, like, the missing weeks here, like Golden Week and then the Corona Week last week, I don't know how those affects when Promised Neverland is going to come out. Like, do those not count in the 1 week thing? Like, is it going to be 4 issues, or are some of those, like, being accounted for? But, I mean, at the same time, like, I'm sure it's very stressful in Japan right now, but at the same time, I'm hoping that the extra breaks might be good for the mangaka. Like, maybe this will be good for everyone. Everyone gets a chance to, not work on stuff, or, depending on what they want to do. They can either bank more chapters so they have more time between when they have to do more stuff, or maybe they can use this time to look upon their series, tighten things up, do redraws for the volumes, because it's a big workload. And any amount of time that the people that create things I like have to, work more on the things I like / take care of themselves, I'm happy for that. That was a wild sentence. I started that sentence without knowing where it was gonna go, and I think that's pretty apparent. I always feel really bad when I see an author comment like this for a series that I don't feel good about, because it's like, I'm happy for you, but at the same time, I don't know if you're bringing smiles to many people, but I mean, maybe. I mean, every series is someone's first series, as wild as that sounds. So, Bone Collection might be someone's intro into yokai series. And hey, maybe it'll be really good going forward. Maybe it'll introduce people at the very least to other series like that they'll end up really loving. So, Moriking with the insect commentary, I'd really like that to continue. I think that'd be a good gimmick for the comments. Fujimoto is a man I agree with deeply. I love the snow. I'm also looking forward to summer. I'm good with it all. It's fine. I took a walk today for like the first time in a long time. It was extremely good. Walking is dope. If you guys haven't walked in a while, you should really walk. Outside, I mean. I walk inside quite a bit. Nah, that's super heartwarming. It's fun using made up words with your family and friends, and it's helpful in detecting if your family member is ever replaced by an imposter. Hmm. Yeah. Like, I wonder how. Like, I'd like to see how all of the mangaka are adapting to the Corona situation. Like, is Oda saying this because he's been doing like Zoom conferences now, or is he just saying it like in general? He didn't hear about people doing Zoom conferences, now he's hearing about it a ton. I wonder if Boichi and Inagaki, because yeah, they went to what was it? Was it Comic Con? No, it can't be Comic Con. But like they did the interview where they were both physically on stage and they were talking to the English and Jump guys and stuff. So maybe they did like a bunch of America research while they were there. I didn't consider that until right now. God, Taishi is so moe. By the way, haven't really been feeling this specific arc. We never learned that much, but it's been pretty good. Really, I'm excited for the next arc, and of course for the final arc of the five that we know about right now. Oh, was this chapter shorts? I mean, to be fair, Black Clover's always a very fast read, but I did not notice how I didn't notice if this chapter was short or not. And it did have like a really big impact 2-page spread. It had a bunch of like floating runes and stuff that I imagine took quite a bit of time to draw. Like, yeah. I mean, I'm glad that he's not sitting on his laurels. And he has had problems with, putting out the chapters, with the correct art and all that. So I do hope he manages to, get to an equilibrium that's good. But if he needed to chop off like a page or two every week, I think that'd be fine for Black Clover. Like when a Black Clover chapter needs to be dense, it does get reasonably dense, and that's fine. And like it's a series that doesn't need to say a lot every issue, so it's fine. These author comments are so wholesome. I'm really happy about that. Like, it is a nice breath of fresh air in these trying times. I didn't have a lot to say about all of them, but they were very nice. Anyways, before Homie's connection completely poops the boop, I am done. This was a good jump. Here are the rankings if you wanted to see them. Overall, fantastic week. I feel like this is actually pretty atypical. Like in terms of Actage being kind of in the middle and My Hero being on top. But like, I think Undead Unluck and Chainsaw Man are generally pretty high. At some point, I should probably do a big graph on Excel, like just taking these rankings and then using the positions on the on each row to determine like where I felt about them every week, and then mapping that to line charts. I think that'd be really fun. But I'd want to do that for like a full year, so maybe I'll do like a 2019 ranking retrospective or something. Anyways, thank you all so much for continuing to support the channel. Did I put? Yes, I did put out Promised Neverland last week. I'll put this out sometime this week, hopefully soon. Check out Donut's channel; he's doing a bunch of fun stuff. Daredevil has been dank. I've really been enjoying it as well. That's about it. Thank you all a ton, Zoe, for the funzo. Bye for now. Nya nya.